Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to improve your listening skills. This is one of the most essential skill even in IELTS. So before we go in, let me talk about the format of the question that you are going to face in IELTS. So even if it is academic or general IELTS, there is only one listening test. It doesn't matter whether you're taking academic or general IELTS, and it will have 4 sections and altogether 40 questions. Section 1 is social, and you will hear 2 speakers are talking about some social issue. Section 2, you will listen about 1 speaker who is going to talk about something related to social. Section 3 is an academic one, and you will hear 3 or 4 speakers are discussing something academic. And section 4 is academic, 1 speaker that is a person is giving academic lecture or talking about some academic issue. Format length 40 minutes, so 30 minutes you will get to listen to the audio, and 10 minutes you will get the time to transfer the answer to your answer script. Now my suggestion would be, if you are practicing a listening test, then in that case you should practice with the answer sheet, because that will give you the vibe and how you will face in original exam. Next thing you have to remember that the recording you are going to listen or hear, that is only once. That means in the test, that is only one time it will be played, and you have to answer based on what you hear one time. So when you are going to answer them, especially when you're marking or you are writing the answer, you should use a pencil, and you can use also a pencil on your answer script to write the answer. And scores are calculated based on your correct answer, so if you answer anything wrong, it will not be counted for. By the way, if you are looking for, say, band score of 7 in IELTS, then in that case you should at least correct 32 questions out of those 40s. It doesn't matter whether you use capital letter or small letter, but if you are using any of them, you have to be consistent about that. Also, when you are going to answer something in a question, you first listen to the instruction first, because it always mentioned whether you have to choose between 2 words or 3 words or 2 words or numbers like that. So you have to be careful about the instruction. Don't forget to read the instructions. Type of question, usually multiple choice, form completion, note completion, map completion, sentence completion, flowchart completion, summary completion, table completion, flowchart completion, diagram leveling, short question answer. These are the type of question you will hear in listening test. So these are my tips. Well, this is actually the way I said, it doesn't mean actually that. Stop doing many practice tests. It means you should practice, but there should be a limit. That means if you practice every day 1 or every week 3 or 4, that is quite enough, because if you are practicing extensively one after another, you will get the boredom, and then you will lose the intention to do what you want to achieve. Another way to improve your listening skill is listen to the podcast and other things. So whatever you're listening, it has to be for pleasure. That means you want to enjoy it. For example, if you are watching YouTube videos or listening music, so these are all for pleasure, right? So when you are looking for to improve your listening skill, first thing you should aim is to listen it for pleasure. Third thing is actively listen to whatever you're listening. You have to check for vocabularies, grammar, accent, connected speech, and also remember in IELTS test you might hear the accent which is based on Australian or British or maybe Canadian accent, so you have to be careful about that. Micro listening, that is the number 4. That means you don't have to spend 2 hours 3 hours listening to something. Instead of that, you divide a listening. Say you are listening something and you can take it as 2 minutes or even 30 seconds or 20 seconds, listening to it, look for what they are trying to say, and then you have to be careful about how they pronounce the word. For example, here I wrote a sentence, did you want some salad with what, with that? So when you say did you want some salad with that, so see, did you is they're connected, and also with that is connected. So you have to be careful about this kind of listening cases. So these are serially, I'm going to say more of the tips about listening, most of the thing that I think you should follow and pay attention to this. So if the instruction says no, write no more than 3 words, that means you should not choose more than that. Even A is considered a word when you write them. Get used to BBC English. That means actually BBC means I meant British, because IELTS listening, most of the cases you will hear something played in British accent. Be careful about the British vocabularies. For example, lorry or truck, or maybe pavement or footpath. You know, British English is something and American English something. So in IELTS you won't hear anything from American English, so you have to be careful about that. Spelling is very essential, because whatever you're writing, if the spelling is wrong, you will lose credit. So you have to be careful about the spelling. When you're listening, you have to be very careful about where the speaker is saying cat or cats, because the S at the end, that makes a difference, because the answer will become singular or plural. Practice test, it has to be organized, and also you have to try to make it in exam condition. So you have to maintain the exam environment, and every week you can actually practice them twice or thrice. And also you have to make a habit of listening every single day. If you allocate 10 minutes, 20 minutes or 5 minutes, you have to be persistent on that. When you have fill in the blanks, in that case you can predict whether the next word should be verb, noun or adjective. So prediction is one of the most important skill here. You have to form the habit of listen and write at the same time, because when you are listening something at the same time, you should choose to write your answer, because later after the audio is done, you will have only 30 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer script. Be aware of the changed information in conversation, because at the beginning maybe the speaker is saying something, at the end he might say, oh, I'm sorry, I have changed my time, or maybe I have changed my something, or maybe you will come up with new information. So the first information is changed later. You have to be careful about that, because this is one of the trap they set in IELTS listening. Next one, listen to group of numbers or phone numbers, because when somebody is saying their phone number or house number, in that case they always say them in a group. So you have to remember, you have to be careful what they're saying. Also the number, for example 13 and 30, you see 13 has a teen at the end, and at the beginning is short, but at 30 the opposite. So you have to be careful whether the number is 13 or 30, something like that, 14, 15, 50. Handwriting has to be clear, because if the examiner cannot read what you wrote, in that case you will lose number. And above all, when you're giving the listening test, you have to concentrate, because you have to pay attention to what the audio is saying, because otherwise you will lose mark, you will lose the information. Now these are some of the listening skills you should have if you are not even looking for IELTS test, because Listening skill is regular, we need every day when we're speaking to someone, when we expect other people to listen to us. So we have to be careful about this. For example, step number 1, face the speaker and maintain eye contact, because when you are not looking at that person in their eye, it means it could mean disrespect, but also remember this is based on culture. Secondly, be attentive and relaxed. So but relax, that means you have to pay attention to what the speaker is saying. Keep an open mind, that means people have their own view, so we have to be open-minded, because we have to learn to be accepted, learn to respect other people's point of view. Listen to the words and try to picture what the speaker is saying. So it's not like you are looking and not listening to anything. So when you're looking at the person, you also try to understand what the person is trying to say. Don't interrupt and don't impose your solution. That means first you listen, and if the other person is asking for your suggestion or solution, then you can say, otherwise don't improvise. Wait for the speaker to pause and ask clarification questions. So when the speaker is saying something, you should not interrupt. On when they are done or they have given a piece of information, if you do not understand something, then you can ask question to clarify whether what the person was speaking about. Ask question only to ensure understanding, not to make the other person embarrassed. Try to feel what the speaker is feeling. Well, this is quite hard to say, but if we put ourselves in other people's shoe, then we'll understand what the other person is going through. Give the speaker regular feedback. That means if you are listening, at least nod or say something, so that the speaker can understand that you are actually listening to him or listen to that person. Otherwise he will think that you are totally pretending to be listening to that person. So pay attention to what isn't said, to non-verbal cues, because sometimes people move a lot with their hand and other things, gesture, posture, that also say a lot of things. So these are the 10 steps you should remember to be very good in listening. So these are the skill you can use every day, and the other one previously I mentioned, those are for IELTS, and you can use them even in your daily life as well. So thank you for watching my video, and if you like my video, don't forget to give a thumbs up, and hope to see you in my next video. So have a nice day, and don't forget to press the like button and also subscribe my channel. Bye for today.